Hi guys, welcome to the first step of the hand control application routine. Today we're going to see the shifting between arm motion and wrist motion with the German grip. We're going to start with the iron sticks or very heavy sticks that you guys can use, which will really give us the feeling of the shifting, and it really tells us if we're doing it in the right way or not, because you really can feel the weight of the stick. So from the moment you are not synchronized with the rebound anymore, you will feel it straight away. Instead, with the wood sticks being less heavy, being more light, it's harder to tell. So iron sticks or heavy sticks are great for this kind of workout, which can compare to working without the spring on the pedals. So it's always the same concept, very similar concept applied on each part of our body that we use. And we will then learn how to stay synchronized and how to shift from arm motion and wrist motion without losing the synchronization, always using the rebound no matter what, without losing the rebound while we go from one part of our body to another one. Working on the reaction of the rebound in both cases, so really working on taking advantage of the rebound and get rid of a lot of physical work. So let's break down the motions and see what happens when we play in this way. So arm motion, it's just gonna be like upstroke, downstroke, and then just working on like the free strokes, so staying synchronized to the stick and following the stick back up. This is the arm motion section. And then when we switch to the wrist motion, the first stroke is still going to be an arm motion, so that we get like a good throw of the stick, and then we just control it, reacting with our wrist instead of with our all hands. So let's isolate the wrist from the rest of the arm, and so when we switch from one motion to the other, it's gonna be arm, 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 wrist, 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 arm, 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 wrist. So the first stroke of the wrist part is still gonna be an arm for the throwing reason, so the kind of a whipping motion that we always talk about. But then once the stick hits the surface, we control the rebound, the reaction, just with the wrist instead of the whole arm. And then when we have to go back from wrist to arm, we're going to do the opposite. So we're going to take advantage of the rebound as much as possible and follow it back with the arm. So it's going to be wrist, arm. So we basically control the rebound of the stick, and we kind of follow it back with our arm, so that we go back in an arm control motion. The feeling that we have, even if we have heavy stick, doesn't have to change. So even if I speed up a little bit, it should still feel the same. I won't have to feel the weight of the stick. I always have to stay relaxed. So even if the bars of the German grip bars are more than one, so even if there are 3 or 4, I still shouldn't get tired and shouldn't feel the weight of the stick. So for example, of course, we will be able to go almost as fast as with regular wood sticks, but of course when this type of material has to come back up, working against the force of the gravity when the sticks come back, the heavier they are, the harder it is for them to get up. So we get to a certain point where the weight of the stick is gonna be an obstacle, but we don't really care of playing 280 BPMs with these sticks because it's not our goal. It's just to make sure that the rebound is correct. So let's remember, the goal is to not feel the weight of the stick, not to work on our muscles. Sometimes I hear, yeah, I play single strokes on the pillow, or I use very heavy sticks so that my muscles, get good workout. No, that's the opposite. I want to take physical effort off. I want the rebound to do the effort for me. The less fatigue I feel I have on doing this, the faster, the more powerful, the longer period I can play. So that's my goal, not to work on my muscle, not to make fatigue, but the opposite, to make the rebound do everything. So things that we have to pay attention to. Of course, distances between the notes, keep them regular. Let's not make the stick work in a weird way, so that, or stopping the rebound and then doing things like that. But let's just let the stick free to do what it wants, and then just isolate the wrist from the arm, and working basically from the elbow to the wrist. Let's not be stiff, okay? Let's always be free, but let's not work in 2 times. Let's just follow the stick with the kind of a free stroke motion. So again, the synchronization to the rebound is the key of this exercise, I would say. And now I'll give you a demonstration of how the exercise has to be played, so that you guys have an idea when you practice. And then of course we will switch to wood sticks. The concept will be the same. It's going to be a little bit harder to understand if we're doing the switching in the right way, but we're going to feel it anyway. I mean, it's not going to be impossible, so you just have to pay more attention, but just apply the same concept that we did with the iron sticks. So with this exercise we're going to benefit the fact of switching between a slow motion to a fast motion. For example, when we switch from a skank beat to like something faster, or another pattern, and then in a fill that we really want to work only on our wrist, we will be able to just switch from one motion, one part of the body to the other without thinking about it. We'll just go on and off into it. So it's very important to understand the difference between the two part of the body. Isolate the wrist. Let's not choke the stick while we play, but let's not leave it too loose. So keep the hand relaxed but always in contact. So these 3 fingers in contact with the stick, leaving again a little bit of space to move so that we don't get stiff. Have a good practice, and I'll see you next week with another lesson.